So girlfriends, welcome to Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry. I'm your host, Angela Jordan Perry, and I'm here today with a special guest. This is Shamay Oware out of South Carolina. Say hello, Shamay.
Hi. Hello, hello.
So girlfriends, listen, we have had an amazing interview, and as always, in all of the interviews that I do with these parents, number one, let me let you know, this show is for those who are of the African diaspora who are homeschooling. It's not for that. It's not just for those who are of the African diaspora, but it highlights those who are, so that we can bring encouragement to those who are considering homeschooling, so you can see someone that you can identify with and say, well, oh, wait a minute, that's her journey. She's homeschooling and I can too. Or just so you can get a glimpse of what it looks like, or just the encouragement to keep staying on the journey and saying, yeah, I can do this another day, you know? So Shamay and I had an amazing interview, and she laid down a lot of nuggets. I'm gonna call it, she put out a lot of tea out there. We just sipping tea. So this one here, this discussion that we're gonna have today is good. It's a good discussion. And as I told Shamay, I haven't heard it anywhere. I haven't read about it, blogs or on podcasts or anything, unless I just missed it. But it's not a common conversation piece that we engage in because we don't focus on that. But Shamay, so you have got to touch base or dive deep and tear apart and bring some insights to this conversation piece about, making sure we as the parents, the home educators, are not being under socialized. We make sure our kids get it, and because we don't want to have that stigma that the first question everyone asks when you're homeschooling, well, what about the socialization, right? That's the first question. Right. I think now we know that question is coming, so we, for the most part, are making sure our kids are being socialized. But how about the parent? So, talk more about that, Shamay, and tell us what you're doing to counteract that fact.
Awesome. So, one thing that I've noticed, just coming into contact with different families that have chosen to homeschool, that the kids, they are just like chatterboxes. They communicate with each other freely. They, communicate their ideas. Of course, there's some personalities that are more reserved or shy, but even within those personalities, they still can communicate and socialize on a healthy level. Yeah. But what I started to see as we started to do different events and connect with families, that the parents seem to have a disconnect with socialization. And it was frustrating because I'm a friendly person. So I like to and I want to get to know the parents, because the parents it's a great indication of what to expect from the child. And I think that we get so involved in making, like you said, making everything right, making everything perfect. We're trying to check all the boxes, and I don't know if you have done this or you do this, but, you create your overview of, what you want to hit for that semester or that quarter or that year. You have your goals. So you're trying to check the boxes, but what box is really there for you? As far as because it's a homeschool. That's and good. You are the teacher,
right?
So you're part of that organization. So where do you fall in that? So I started to include my goals in reference to our homeschool inside the goals for the children, and my husband's as well, because he's become way more active now in homeschooling now that he's here permanently. So, and what we started to find was that when we started to go out to these different events, and I mentioned to you that we hosted like a fall ball recently, and everyone was the kids were like, hey, and they've been playing with each other and going to the park, but the parents, they still were having a hard time warming up to each other. So
wow.
And they kind of sit on the sidelines, or they're talking to their children. Yeah. But, like I said, we're part of the system. We're part of, because it is a system. When you have a school in your home, it is a system. Yeah. So you're a part of the system, so you can't neglect that. So I just decided to just, every time I went somewhere, that I would talk to as many parents as I could. I would go up to them and just say, hey, how are you doing? My name is Shamay. And I kind of learned it from my youngest son, because he's like our social butterfly. So he walks up to people and he's like, my name's Logan. This is my brother. Like, he introduces our whole family. I said, I need to start doing this.
It's like it's kid-like thinking, and
right.
being, kid-like being. Just go up and say that. Shamay, I'm going to tell you. So what have you found to be the magic thing to break that unsocialization of parents? Is there a magic something that we need to do, or what is it?
I believe it is allowing ourselves to be human and to be seen as such. I think that we get, like, it was just like, when I started to just say, hey, we're here. We almost didn't make it. So-and-so was missing a sock, and this person. And when I just started to just really share and to be natural and true to who I am and to myself, that's when I really started to really make some really good friends and feel that sisterhood and that community. So just saying, you know what, it's not perfect, and reminding ourselves of that. And also recognizing that that's probably the safest place to even share your homeschool experience, because you're around other homeschoolers. So I think that it's important that we start to socialize with homeschooling families, that it should be a family affair. One of my good friends, she, put together a friendsness, and it was just homeschool families. And it was a small group, just her close friends, and we exchanged gifts per family. It wasn't a lot of gifts. It wasn't about the gifts really, but it was more so just about that socialization. And, she's like a sister to me. When I was going through a tough time and I needed someone to watch my children for me while my husband was away, she stepped in without a blink of an eye, and I knew my children would be safe.
Right.
So that helps, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're homeschooling, and maybe your husband is away or he's deployed, or if you are working a full-time job and still homeschooling. I know quite a few families that are both parents are working. You need that real support system. And that's the gift of socialization, because you can really meet people that are like-minded, that are genuine, and really create a village. It takes a village, and we love to say that, but how much of a village are we really if we can't even say hey to each other?
That's right.
So.
Dang, that's good.
Something to think about.
And so true. And I think you also connected that with the idea of the self-care. And that is part of the self-care, is caring about yourself, giving some focus to yourself, and making sure that you are getting out there and not being under-socialized, Right. It's just
and that comes with like just connecting with someone that can identify.
Yeah.
Because you can call your girlfriend from, I don't know, high school that you've been friends with for years and try to talk to her about how you didn't sleep last night because you were looking at curriculum. It's not going to compute to her the same. It's just not. She, she can be supportive, but from the lane that she's in, and that's no shot at her. It's just, it's a different lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good stuff right there. And I hope that if you're listening, you as you're listening to this and hear Shamay speaking about this, I'm going to call it the under-socialized parent, homeschool parent, that it'll speak volumes to you, and that we'll be proactive and care about ourselves enough to get out there and be able to talk and socialize and put that into action, and not just be like, oh, I'm okay. Really, we're not okay, because we're island to ourselves. And I can be honest, in these 19 years of homeschooling, I have gone through that, years of being an island to myself, either because I just didn't have anyone to connect with, I didn't have like-minded people to connect with in the homeschooling journey, or I was just like, I'm just too overwhelmed or too focused on what I'm doing for my kids, and I just didn't make that effort. So what I believe what we're trying to say for Shamay and for myself too, listen, self-care and self-love, part of that is not being under socialized as the home educator. Yeah.
Right. And it's self-care is not just, you know, we like to associate it with getting a massage or getting our nails done, or, you know, watching a TV show, like just kind of decompressing. Yeah, those are all versions, but those are very surface approaches to self-care. But self-care for me really means something that's really going to make a change. And I think that making a friend, checking in on your mental, like where you are mentally, and recognizing that, you know, sometimes I think there was a meme that I created, and it was like, if you are upset and screaming and your child is crying, then you're doing too much. And there's some, you know, some families that they get stuck in that, like, you know, drilling in the question and drill. And I think that has a lot to do with the under socialization. We're hyper focused. We're focusing in on reaching a goal and a task, and not checking in with ourselves mentally to see, is this really the goal? Is this really the task? Am I good? Am I tired? You know, is he having a hard time, or am I tired?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
what? Yeah. Good stuff. Good. Thank you, Shamay. Thank you again for bringing the nuggets and the wisdom and insights and just breaking this down, girlfriend. Yep. Sounds like, you know, we need to give attention to this. No, it don't sound like it. It is. We need to give attention to this area of ourselves and our homeschooling journey. Make sure you're not being under socialized as the home educator, and make it happen and get connected. All the details for Shamay is going to be in the show notes, so you can get connected with what she has going on. Acoma Cares for the Carolinas. I mean, so there's no excuse. So let's make it happen. Okay, girlfriends? All right. Well, thanks, Shamay. Again, you all be sure to find her podcast recording and listen to the full interview. You are going to be so encouraged and walk away with so many insights, because the girl, like I said, was bringing the nuggets. She was bringing it. And so make sure you share it with a friend, share it with a girlfriend, share it with 10. Okay. Peace, everyone.
awesome.
Next time. Bye, Shamay.